first SLQ ever. I think I just hit my first SLQ ever. So this is going to be the SLQ that I found. It's the first one I've ever found in 2.5 years of metal detecting. And today we're going to drop some acid on it and see if we can't pull the date up on this dateless SLQ. So for you purists out there who think it's a blasphemy to clean your coins or to put acid on your silver or whatever, change the channel. If you want to keep watching it, my advice is sit down, tuck your head between your legs, and take a deep breath. But first, let's go back and look at the video where this coin was recovered out of the dirt. Well, Zoe got us this permission. This house was built here in the 80s, but this house here was built in 1860. You have to pardon the wind, it's really windy. And there's a house out over there that was built in 1900, so they owned all this property. Now the guy who owns the property we're on now is here. It goes all the way back 200 or 300 feet to the creek back there. So I figured I'd start along the property line over here after kind of poking around here a little bit and not just getting anything but some melted metal. So came along here, hit my first good signal, and we're gonna have silver if I can get this wind blocked. And there's, see if you can see the edge on it. There's the edge on it right there. Nice silver edge, down about 6 inches deep. So we're gonna pop this out and see what we have. It looks like a quarter to me. Oh, be something stupid. Oh my God, I think it's my first SLQ ever. I think I just hit my first SLQ ever. Oh, it is. Oh my God, please tell me it has a date. No, it don't. It's as slick as a button. So I don't even care. It's my first SLQ ever. Holy crap.
Wow.
Oh my God.
That's so pretty.
Isn't that awesome? It's dateless though. The date would be right there. And I'm not seeing it. Maybe it'll come out later, but I'm not seeing it. It's a smoothie. Oh. That's my first SLQ ever. Holy crap.
You happy?
I'm happy. My silver smile. A little pay homage to Kurt France. A little kissy kissy. Holy crap, my first SLQ. Let's see what else we can get. I told you this could be a good property for some potential later. Damn. Okay, so this is the coin that I found. It's my first SLQ. I've been metal detecting for 2.5 years. I have dug thousands of coins. This was obviously one of my bucket listers. Never found one. And when it came out of the ground, as you can see, it is dateless. This leaves you to go into investigating it. If you have SLQs, then I'm assuming you went and investigated yours to find out what you have. This is what most of us do when we find something we've never had and we don't know much about it. So they had top 1, top 2, and a top 3 SLQ. And when you have a dateless coin, you end up going to the die for the front and back to try to figure out what you have. In the top one, up here, she would have had a bare breast, and given the fact that the coin has wear on it the way that it does, you really can't tell whether it's a bare breast or not. I mean, you can slightly see that it's covered here, so I guess that's kind of coming out with the camera view. So I flipped the coin over. You can look at the back of the coin here, and you end up. This is the first real big indicator. You got 3 stars here. In the top one, the eagle was set lower on the coin. A lot of people complained at the time, I guess, saying that, you know, it looked like the eagle was landing or taking off or something, whatever they were saying. So that's the first indicator we have right here. This is going to be at least a top 2 SLQ. Now, do we have a top 3? Okay, so from, I think it's 1916, could have the years wrong. Forgive me on that, I'm not an expert here. 1916 to 1917 or so, that was going to be your top 1. I guess at the time, for that time period, it was a little risque to have a bare breast hanging out here. So they went to the top 2, they covered the breast with chainmail and added the stars on the back and raised the eagle up so that it looked a little higher on the coin. In 1925 is whenever they changed another thing to the coin, which made it the top 3. They recessed the date here so that it was no longer the high point of the coin, because prior to that, the dates would rub right off. It was a high point of the coin, just like your Buffalo nickels. The top 1, top 2s, they come out dateless. Most of the times when you dig them up, they're worn. If you find one that's not worn, that's even better. But my first one, this is it. It's worn. It is what it is. I love it. So I started looking on the internet. They have, I think it's called Nick Date or Dick Date or something like that. Some crap like that. You can use them on your Buffalo nickels to pull the dates back up. But everybody online was saying, hey, your SLQ is just junk silver. You know, you don't really need to know the date anyways. And why would you want to try to pull the date off of something? What if it's a key date or something? Well, you know, common sense would say, how in the hell you know if it's a key date? You can't see the date. So me personally, I clean all my coins. I want to know what the dates are. This is the first coin I've ever found that I couldn't see the date on, as far as my silver coins go. Now, as far as my coppers go, you know, all of us has dug the coins and they look like that. And some people are purists and they're like, you know, I'm not cleaning it. I'm not cleaning it. I'm not cleaning it. Well, you know what? I'm one of those weirdos, and we have our fair share of us out here. I want the coins to be identifiable. I want them to look as good as I can get them to look as the day they hit the ground and, you know, proceeded to sink down into the dirt. So I will clean my coins. I will brush them. I will put them in lemon juice, Worcestershire sauce, you know, a mixture of vinegar. I will do whatever I can to try and recover the coin back to the best I can get it. This is a 1917 that I dug up, and I cleaned it. I don't want my coin to look like that. What's the point in having that other than saying, oh, it's a coin? So I do. I clean my coins. They're my coins. They're not for sale. Unless I just found something stupid like a 1901 San Francisco barber quarter or something like that. You know, if I found something that was just really off the charts, then yeah, I'm probably not going to clean it. But for the most part, I'm not going to get rich doing this, and I do clean my coins. I want to be able to see them and identify them. So back to the Standing Liberty. First silver I've ever found that didn't have a date, and everybody's online calling it, you know, it's junk silver, you don't need to know the date, whatever. Well, there's weirdos like us that we want to know what the date is. I want to know what the date is. And so just messing around with not knowing, I got my silver testing solution right there, silver testing solution, and I put some over the date. So what we're going to do is we're going to do that. We're going to put it over the date and see if this comes through on video. I don't know if it's going to come through on video or not. If it doesn't, I'll post the pictures of it and we will see what it does. All right, so what we're going to do is we're just going to put just ever so slightly, a minute amount of acid on the date. You don't need to put a lot. Oh, that kind of bubbled up on me. Just going to put it there a minute. We're going to let it sit there and do its thing. Obviously, the silver acid is interacting with the silver on the coin. And our goal is just to be able to see what the date is. I want to know what the date is of my coin. And if you want to know what the date is for your coin, this is how I managed to pull this up on this coin here. And we're going to let it just sit there a second. And I'm hoping this comes through on the video so that you can see what I'm talking about here. Don't worry about it. The acid's drifting a little bit on the coin. Not a big deal. We'll cover that in a minute too. So I got a Q-tip here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lightly try to take off. I'm not really touching the coin as much as I am just kind of hovering it in that acid liquid to try and get it to take off some of that excess. And let's see if we can pull it shut. Really? I knocked the coin on the table now. Hush! Are you serious? I'm trying to do a video here, you freaks. Okay, so let's see if it pulled the date up on this coin. And I don't know if that's going to come through on the video. Rock, are you serious? Turn it off. So let's see if this is going to come up on the coin. And if you can see that, and it's trying to come through on video, that it's a 2-0 there. I would lay that down, but that goes like that, and you're not seeing crap like that. So let's try and angle this. Let me try and pull some light in here. And if you can see there is a 2-0 there. And I'm really afraid that this is not going to come through on video. And if not, then I will post some pictures of it. But you can see the 0 right there. The 1 never really came through, but the 2 did. Hey, let me back the camera out and see if that works better. Hang on one second. So I backed the camera out a little bit, and this is coming through a little bit on the camera, but you can see the 9. You can vaguely see the 1, but you can see the 2-0 is coming out. So I was excited. I know the year of my coin now. It's not a key date. It's worn. Don't care. It's my coin. I know the date. You can see on there it's 1920. And I'll just let that sit there a second so that I can maybe focus in a little better so you can see that. But I was excited to see that I was able to pull the date up on that and see that it's a 1920. We obviously were able to narrow it down. It's not a top 1, so it's a top 2. It's not a top 3 because it's a recessed date. It's not a recessed date. So you're left with between 1917 and 1924. And there it is, the 2-0. So for those of you who are freaking out because I put acid on my coin, keep breathing. We're going to get through this. So I'm excited. And when you put the acid on the coin, obviously it stains it. You can see the stain on there. That bothered me a little bit, and I was like, well, what the hell do I do with that? You know, I knew what it was going to do. When I test my jewelry, it does that sometimes. So I knew what it was going to do. But what I've learned is if you take a little kid's eraser, just like this, something simple as this, you can sit there and literally take that acid residue off. Just rubbing that eraser around. Wipe it clean, and you're right back to your new, or not new, but right back to your shiny SLQ, and the acid residue is gone. That's what I did. This is what I did to pull the date off of my coin. Obviously, once you take that acid residue off, the date's gone again. But that's okay. I now know what year my SLQ is. You know, irregardless of what they say online and in these different forums or not, I have to beg to differ. This is not junk silver. It may be considered that this is one of my treasures. This is one of the treasures I dug out of the ground. It's not junk silver. This is my first SLQ. This is one of my finds, and I love it. It is really, even in its worn condition, it's such a beautiful coin, and you can see some of that acid made its way back there. Even in its worn condition, it's such a beautiful coin, and I love looking at it. It took me 2.5 years to find my first SLQ, and I've learned about these coins now because obviously I did my research just like most of us do when we find a coin we've never found before. I learned there's 3 types. Mine's a type 2, and when you find one of these, obviously, and if you found one, you know what I'm talking about. The M is for the designer of the coin, the maker of the coin, and your mint mark would be right there. There's no D, there's no S, so it's a plain. So that tells me I have a 1920 Philadelphia mint standing Liberty quarter. It's a beautiful coin. I love it. I can't wait to find another one. And again, this is not junk silver. This is one of my treasures that I recovered out of the dirt, and can't imagine how long it's been, and I was the first person to touch it since whoever touched it last. So awesome. Love it. So get out there, go dig in the dirt, go find your treasures, dig up that history, whatever it is you look for, and have fun doing it. And I hope this video helps somebody. It may not help anybody, you know, but I'm sure somebody's out there wondering the same thing, and you're reading the forums and they're saying you can't get the date off the SLQs. Well, with a silver solution, I was able to get the date. I won't go into the scientific aspects of it, but obviously when the coin is struck, and the date being the high point of the coin, the date, the numbers themselves, and the backfield take a different pressure when the coin is struck. And so those different pressures, when you put the acid on there, that acid reacts with the different pressures that were applied to the coin when it was struck, and that's what allows you to see the date. I don't know if this works on every coin, every SLQ, or every coin that doesn't have a date on it. It worked for me on this one. I was able to determine 1920 Philadelphia Mint SLQ, my first. Bam! Loving it, loving it. So get out there digging the dirt. Happy hunting, y'all. Stay safe, and post your pics and videos. Later.